First of all, hello, I'm Dan. I'm the CEO of Chegg. Hopefully you've all met Layla, who is the CEO of Chegg.org. She has been the inspiration, along with the Varkey Foundation, to get Chegg involved in this. And as the company has gone more global, we have been introduced to so many amazing young people and students around the world like yourselves. And that really got us engaged to want to do this Global Student Prize. And I think what has not surprised us but thrilled us was just how many people wanted to participate and how difficult the challenge was to get down to the final 10. And that is all of you. That's just remarkable. So, Anna, let me start with you. You're from Brazil. Are you in Brazil right now?
Yes, I'm Maceió. I don't know if you have heard of that, of my city, but I'm Maceió, Alagoas.
I have not been. I've been to Brazil, but I've not been to your city.
Oh, where have you been?
Where did you think I went?
Rio de Janeiro, yeah, or São Paulo. Everybody just go to there. But my city is beautiful. Just come here.
Well, I will come visit you in your city one day. I promise to come visit you in your city one day. But I would like to know how you got into Legos at 13, and how did you feel? Look, I played with Legos, and they basically were blocks that I ate. You turned Legos into robotics and represented your entire region. Would you like to tell me how that felt and what inspired you?
Yes, of course. Actually, at that time, it was like 2016, more or less. There was nothing to do in my city. Actually, there wasn't any opportunities, and there was anything that wasn't doing actually homeschool or school tests, and I didn't like it. I actually wanted to do something that actually have an impact in anything, because in my city there was anything like that. So there was a selection for the team in here for the Brazilian Olympics of robotics. However, I always tried to get in the team, but I never got in the team. I don't know why. I think they had like, and Nigeria isn't able to go in the team like every year because I never got in that team. And every year I just went to visit the competition that was in my state. And every year I saw all these amazing people doing all this amazing work, and I wasn't able to do it. So the next year, after a lot of selections that I didn't go in, there was a selection for the first Lego League. I don't know if you know, but the first like a big organization in the world that they have some competitions. And it was the first time that this competition, my school was going to participate in this competition. And I was so excited because I really want to get in. However, I wasn't good at programming or construction at the time, so I had to use my own abilities. And I actually was pretty good at presenting in Portuguese, at presenting projects and all the amazing ideas I had.
You seem like an incredible, enthusiastic, wonderful storyteller.
Yes, I hope so. Yes. So fortunately, I got in my team. I was so happy because it was the first time I had this type of opportunity, because there was anything like this in my state before. And when I got, actually, I went to talk with my parents because the first time of the competition, we're going to go to another state. And it wasn't something normal for me, like to go to another state to compete. That wasn't something that everybody was doing. And when I talked with my parents, they actually said, I don't think that's true. I don't think you're gonna go. I think they're lying to you. Like, and I was so sad because I really wanted to prove that there could be opportunity like this to us, to students. I was 12 years old at the time, so I didn't have the ability to actually prove to my parents, because when they look at me, they saw a child, so they could actually believe in me. However, I spent all my summer break on school. I spent like morning, afternoon, nights. We even slept at school. I remember one time that we spent like 48 hours like actually doing a robot, and we didn't sleep. It was the craziest experience ever. 48 hours, like just.
Well, it doesn't seem like you've lost that spirit. So listen, we are just ecstatic about you and your energy and your enthusiasm, and I just wanted to congratulate you on making the final 10 and to thank you for presenting here today, and such an honor to meet you. And now I'm conflicted because you said I should come to your city, but you said there was nothing to do in your city. So
Okay, that was not to do in robotics and education, but there was a lot of beaches.
all right, we'll come and we'll build Legos on the beach.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much, Anna. It's such an honor and a thrill to meet you and to hear your story.
Thank you.
All right. So now we have Amisa. I have yet to be to Kenya. One day I would love to go. I have been to multiple places in Africa, North Africa, but one day I will get to Kenya and maybe you'll host me, because my understanding is that at a very young age, you really wanted to focus on reducing conflict and violence in your area, and you founded a foundation at a very young age. I think it's called Navishe or Navish? Navishe?
Nivishe.
Yeah, and it's a youth and women-led organization that aims to build community resilience through mental health and trauma-informed programs. And I think just plain and simple, you live in a region where women need support, and there's a lot of conflict and violence, and the resiliency of the Kenyan people, and particularly women, is renowned and very strong. But even strong people need help. So would you tell us a little bit about what motivated you and how the foundation is going?
Okay, so I like the way you pronounce Nivishe. So it's Nivishe. Nivishe is a Swahili word that means to clothe you. So with Nivishe, we aim at clothing people holistically, mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually, but using mental health, because I come from a marginalized community in Kenya, ethnically marginalized that is, and I am a Muslim. And with those two dynamics, and I have also been brought in an informal settlement. This is one of the largest informal settlements in Kenya. You find that the dynamics of conflict and the conflict is, there's a lot of conflict in all aspects. So I had grown up saying that I don't want my future self to be growing in an environment where there's so much conflict. So what can I do personally at a personal level to ensure that even the future generation that comes will have a peaceful environment? So that is what made me venture into counseling psychology, into mental health, trying to integrate.
How old were you? How old were you when you imagined all this? Because to be honest, most young people are just struggling to survive and to get into a position to thrive. But somebody like you, the world needs people like you who can see 5 steps further than everybody else about trying to end it. So just tell us how young you were when you imagined trying to fix all of this.
So when I was 11 years old, there was an ethnic war that happened in my community. And it was between like two ethnic tribes, which were the largest ones. And I think that was the first time in my life that I came across dead bodies all over. And until now, from that moment, I just said that I'm going to make this place a better space. I'm not going to live in an environment whereby we'll be just children will be growing up in violence, in conflict, and all those kind of traumatic experiences and then leave. It's easier for me like to have just made the choice of, okay, go to school, get good education, get good job, get out of that community. But I realized that if I leave the community, who will I expect to take the role and responsibility of trying to make it a better place? So I think when I was 11 and I experienced that traumatic event, which lives with me up to now, is when I decided that we just have to create change at the end of the day.
Well, we are all fortunate that a young 11-year-old girl saw a world more important and bigger than herself and invested not only in herself, but in her community to make things better. The unfortunate facts of the world is your story is the story of what's going on in your city and your region and your country is not unique, but what is unique is a young woman who stepped up to make a difference. And so I really want to commend you and congratulate you and thank you, because we need people like you all over the world. So congratulations on making the top 10. It's a really big deal when you know how many people applied, and we couldn't be more grateful to meet you and to hear your story. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Now we have Elliot. Elliot is from the United Kingdom. And Elliot has overcome immense odds to succeed at university. and now campaigns tirelessly on a range of issues including mental health, social enterprise, sustainability, and a solution for homelessness. He's the founder of Utter Rubbish, a mobile app connecting citizens to recycling services to reduce waste. And so I want to introduce Elliot, because what is clear to me is that what is happening around the world is young people are seeing the environment and the things that affect the environment positively and negatively, including sustainability and mental health. These are all connected issues. And Elliot, so tell us your story from the United Kingdom, because it's quite spectacular.
Thank you, and it means a lot to be recognised alongside like so many amazing people on this call. And like for me, it goes back to when I was a teenager. So when I was 15, we had like a broken home, and unfortunately, that displaced a lot of my like studies because I was stepping up to like support my family. So that impacted my grades at the time. It impacted my mental health. So I took like a step back to like support myself, because if you can't help yourself, then you can't help like others that you care about. So I was getting like additional tuition. I was getting additional support for my mental health, and what was like became clear is that like lots of students are facing these like challenges, and I just felt empowered to support to the young people. So I went on to do my undergraduate degree in accounting and finance, because I thought if I got the skills, like financial skills, then I'd be able to help with the young people that are struggling with financial challenges, which of course, in like most severe cases, that end up with like homelessness. So I thought let's get to the roots of these issues.
I was going to say, Elliot, most people don't know that in Western society, every society has their own significant challenges. And a lot of them are common in terms of the results of it, which is bad mental health, drug use, suicide, anxiety, depression. In the country that you're from, this is a very big deal. So tell us a little bit, though, how you got from there.
So I was doing a civic curriculum program as part of my undergraduate degree, and I reached out to the local authority just to basically see what they do and like what the like challenges were going on in the local area. And it was, I guess, a kind of a coincidence in a way. I was discussing with the environmental team and the waste management team at the local authority, and I didn't realize beforehand like such like a massive issue that they were having, particularly with collecting recycling and general environmental awareness. And I took a step back and realized it was about communication. That a lot of the processes in place were working. It's just residents weren't aware, and we had a massive student population at the university. And we had students coming in from all over the UK, internationally, and of course, everyone has different practices. It doesn't necessarily mean the wrong practices. It's just if you're in one country or one like region, you've been told you can and cannot recycle certain things, and it goes in this bin, it doesn't go in that bin, then it just becomes a lot of confusion. So I created an app, and I got lots of student interns to like empower the young people to get involved in the project and like bring in their skills, which it wouldn't have happened like without the young people getting involved.
So Elliot, speaking of which, you're like a traditional founder in the internet age, which is you saw a problem that upset you personally and you didn't realize how big it was. You also didn't realize that how many regulations from government exist, sometimes for good reasons and sometimes for reasons that don't matter as much anymore. And so keep up the good work of going around the government and telling your story and connecting people, because your generation cares a great deal about sustainability and knows the planet is important. And Elliot, we are grateful for just a young teenager from a broken home sharing his ambition, his love for the world, his love for the planet, and making a huge difference. Congratulations, my friend. Great job. Welcome to the top 10. All right. Now we're on to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, he founded Optima Energy to tackle the problem of energy poverty in Sierra Leone, where only 26% of the population has access to electricity, which is crazy. He launched an innovative device that uses the kinetic energy from traffic and passersby to generate affordable, clean power in local communities. With just 2 devices, the pilot program provided free electricity around 1,500 citizens, as well as 15 schools where more than 9,000 students attend. So if you think about everything that we're trying to do, increase connectivity, increase access to the internet, which is access to information, health, learning, future, other people, you can't do it without energy and power, and you can't do it without clean energy and power. So Jeremiah is a little bit like the Elon Musk of Sierra Leone. He's reinventing power and safe energy. So let's talk to Jeremiah.
Hello.
Hi, Jeremiah. How are you? You're from Sierra Leone. And I hope I didn't put too much pressure on you by calling you the Elon Musk of Sierra Leone. But I met Elon before he got into Tesla and PayPal. And you'd be amazed but not surprised, given your success, how people can come from all over the world. He's actually from South Africa. And people can come from all over the world. And if they believe in themselves and they believe in their communities, they can do amazing things. So I want you to tell us about your company and what drove you to do it, because it's pretty amazing.
So I grew up in a community that most of the time society don't consider when it comes to development programs. And while I was growing up, I experienced firsthand the challenges that lack of access to energy can bring in a community. The forest cover was almost gone. I saw a neighbor, the kid of a neighbor passed away because the kid was using a candle and then the candle fell down. And then the kid was already asleep and unfortunately she lost her life. And I also saw firsthand flooding, destroying homes. We saw as kids the health challenges that struggling with firewood and other form of local energy things that people can use for power can bring in. A lot of my peers had health complications due to inhaling like smog or smoke.
So Jeremiah, you saw the problem, which is incredible. But what I'm amazed at is you figured out a solution. Can you explain that to us?
So the solution started when I was opportune to be admitted to the best secondary school in Sierra Leone called St. Edward Secondary School, which was in the western parts of the city. And I was in the far dead east, right? So every day I have to move from that location to my school. And then going to a neighborhood wherein you see electricity all over the place, and going back home every evening is like I was moving in between two worlds. So we used to have a school playing ground called Maypark. So Maypark was where as kids we used to play. I was 14, that was in 2014. And then I came up with a team called the Maypark Scientists. We were 5 in number, so we started brainstorming how we're going to develop energy systems. The idea was Maypark was an avenue for us to play, but then I saw an opportunity from a playing ground wherein we can come together and brainstorm. So we brainstormed and developed the first windmill and hydro dam. We tested it. We powered a few homes and kids started seeing. But then a growing challenge was the fact that there was a growing urban trend, and I came up with the idea that how we're going to make sure that we power our communities using the growing urban trend, because there is a ton of kinetic energy that people exhibit on a daily basis. Cars move, animals move, and a lot of other things move within the community. So that's how Optimum Energy came about. And then on the site, we also realized the potential to educate these people on their consumption patterns, energy efficiency, because giving them access to energy is one thing, but then how they consume it is also another factor that we
and what you have the ability to do with it once you're able to consume it, because there's so much brilliance and compassion behind what you've done. But one of them is when you empower people, and that includes health and water and food, but also opportunity to create businesses and sustain your families, which electricity will do, not only in Sierra Leone, but all around the world. What you have built has a chance to create really affordable, scalable leverage for marginalized communities everywhere. And people in America would be shocked to know that there are communities without electricity because we consume at ridiculously high levels. I remember sitting in a meeting with the founders of Google once where they told a presidential candidate, we'll just invent more. Well, my friend, Jeremiah, you have invented more. So I want to say congratulations and thank you. And I think what you're doing is going to continue to not only make a difference in Sierra Leone, but around the world. And congratulations on being part of the top 10.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Really a pleasure. Now we have Keika from Canada. Keika, I recently saw your face all over the St. Andrew's Cathedral. That is quite the place to be seen. That is amazing. It looked phenomenal. But that was really in recognition of you founding the Green Hope Foundation and your social innovation enterprise that engages people around sustainability and marginalized communities. And what we're discovering is there's huge pockets of marginalized communities, and collectively those marginalized communities, if you empower them, they do great things. And so can you tell us how you started all of this and how you started your social innovation and your Green Hope Foundation?
Well, it's very nice to meet you, Dan. And my journey started 14 years ago when I was 7 years old. I was fortunate to grow up in a family with a lot of empathy, seeing my parents go out every weekend to distribute food and clothes to the less fortunate, and I used to accompany them. My grandmother to this day has an urban terrace garden where she grows her own food. So for me, I just thought that every single person took care of the planet, took care of the community through all of their actions. But then at 7, I saw the image of a dead bird with its stomach full of plastic, was deeply disturbed by it. And because it kind of just took me out of that safety net that I was in. And then I attended a lecture by environmentalist Robert Swan, and his words, the greatest
At
threat.
7?
Yes, at 7. I was a very curious child.
I would say you were a curious child, because at 7, I'm not even sure that I was able to get dressed by myself. So this is quite a remarkable, what all of you seem to have in common is there was something that happened in your life, and the difference between accepting it as being okay versus addressing it as something that could be affected. And so at 7 years old, this is amazing. Keep going, please. I'm loving this story. I also love your earrings, if that's okay to say.
Very much. But yes, just to your point about seeing a problem and taking action, when I attended that lecture, Robert Swan had said that the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. And for me, that was kind of the final push to take action myself. And I planted my first tree on my 8th birthday, and my birthday is World Environment Day, 5th June. So I thought that
So you were destined for this future.
Yeah, so I thought I was like preordained to become an eco-warrior, and later on I realized I have to put in a lot of work to make that a reality. And I continued working on the ground for many years, and then when I was 11, the United Nations somehow caught hold of the work I was doing, and that was when I was introduced to the international arena. But then the following year, in 2012, when the Rio Plus 20 Earth Summit took place, it was the largest sustainable development conference of the time, and there were 50,000 delegates, but only 5 people under the age of 18. And I, being 12, was one of the youngest.
Way under the age of 18. You're probably the only person under the age of 13.
Yeah, probably, actually. That is true. I was the youngest to address a press conference there, definitely. But for me,
I'm guessing in your life you're going to be the youngest to do a lot of things.
Yeah. But for me, it was really to make sure that, I was not like having the youngest that was great at the time. But then I realized that it was not that great, because there were children around the world who were being left out of these decision-making processes, or even like work on the ground. And there was a severe lack of inclusivity of not just youth, but children in this process. And that was when I founded Green Hope Foundation, to use education for sustainable development as the transformative tool to provide young people and children, and later on women, other marginalized communities, with the tools and resources to bring about change in their own zones of influence. And now we work across 25 countries.
You're clearly somebody that all of you are making a difference. And the thing that I'm learning from listening to all of you and reading all of your stories and seeing your face on St. Andrews is that these aren't being done for marginalized communities. They're empowering marginalized communities to do for everybody. And that is absolutely incredible, how many people have been marginalized, but when you give them the tools, they're doing not only for themselves, but for the rest of the planet and the rest of the world. And so I wanted to express my gratitude and also my appreciation, also congratulate you on being a top 10 finalist.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so I think we have Lamia. Well, it's a real honor to meet you, Lamia, and you're the founder and CEO of Resilient Together, which is a narrative I think we're hearing a lot about. In your case, it's a youth initiative that work with international and philanthropic organizations to provide ICT devices, which you're going to tell us about, to 20,000 students in the UAE because they were forced into distance learning. Once again, we have a young person who is focused on empowering other young people to learn and to have access so that they can unleash their energy and their creativity to do great things. So I really need to hear about how you started and what motivated you.
So the story of Resilient Together actually goes back to the pandemic. And, 2020 was a year that honestly just disoriented the entire world. And it truly exposed, the inequalities that lie within all of our societies in terms of, access to education, for example. And, someone who's a great advocate for education and, ensuring low-income students receive, quality education and girls receive quality education, especially, in my home country, Pakistan. I, saw that my friends, me, everyone around me, and when I checked up on, how are you doing? How is this pandemic, affecting you? I realized that the youth oftentimes went unaddressed, and the challenges that the youth faced went unaddressed. Like, for example, I'm still in high school, and that time, I was doing year 11, and I did not know what was going to happen with my exams. There was so much uncertainty. There was so much uncertainty all over. And that's when I decided that we need to do something to let the youth know that we are each other's best support system, and that we're going to create opportunities for ourselves, and we're going to create opportunities for those that are not necessarily exposed to them. So with Resilient Together, the way we decided to go about this is partner with an international philanthropic organization over here in the UAE called Dubai Cares, and their Education Uninterrupted initiative. So what we personally did was we hosted a summer program that went international, and we had students from all over the world. We had expert student instructors that were leading these summer programs and leading these courses, because we truly believe that we can connect with our peers on a much greater level. And all the money that we, were able to generate out of that summer program went directly to the Education Uninterrupted initiative. And I'm just so happy that it was able to have the impact that it did, because, this year, again, we were able to do the summer program. And just knowing that, 20,000 students were able to benefit from these ICT devices means the world to me, because I know firsthand how, education can get disrupted because of, finances, or it can get disrupted because of not having that sort of opportunity. So that is, how Resilient Together happened, and that is how the whole initiative happened.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing it. And just a little known fact, I'd mentioned earlier that one of the first things we did at Chegg was plant trees, but one of the other interesting things about Chegg is it was actually founded originally by a Pakistani and an Indian who are cousins.
Wow.
Yeah, a Pakistani Muslim and an Indian Hindu, and they founded the company together, and they hired a New Yorker to build and run the company for them. So we are all interconnected, but I think 20,000 students, just to understand, some of the best universities, there's great universities around the world, but in the United States, you always hear about Harvard and Yale and Stanford. Those three together make up 20,000 students. So when you understand just how scalable, you created something that from 0 to 20,000 almost overnight, you realize how possible it is when you have committed, dedicated leadership, communication, passion, and compassion to really affect the world. And the fact of the matter is, I think we learned many lessons during the pandemic about marginalization and income disparity, things that those communities always knew. But now we're learning solutions, way to empower young people to fix the world that needs to be fixing in a way that it can now because of technology. So I just want to thank you and congratulate you especially for being a top 10 finalist.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
It means a lot to us. I mean, really just phenomenal. All right, now we have our United States representative, Mateen, who is the founder of a nonprofit called E-Equal, which supports students experience homelessness in the United States. It has given over $30,000 in scholarships to disadvantaged students and raised awareness about homelessness through social media, reaching millions of people. E-Equal also engages Gen Zers on homelessness throughout a chapter network, which now serves 18 states. And for many of you, you may not know just how many college students are homeless and are hungry in the United States, because for such a wealthy country, you would never anticipate that it could happen. But 36% of all students in the US say they're hungry at least one day a month, which you would not expect in the United States. So you wouldn't think something like this would be needed, but it's needed now more than ever. So let's bring in Mateen.
Hello.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Well, I'm aging faster than I would like, but meeting all of you top 10 incredible, it is people like me of my generation. We have hope because your generation gives us hope.
That's good for us to hear, right?
I hope. No pun intended. So tell us about your project. What got you started in it? What state are you from?
Yeah, so my work really started way back when I was in 8th grade, and I was in Colorado.
So you were 14 years old in Colorado.
I was 14 years old, had absolutely no idea what I was doing, but I took this community service class that was all about just doing something positive for your community. And I led this service project, and a close friend of mine and I did a different service project. And afterwards we were like, we're 8th graders, we have a lot of time on our hands, we should do something more impactful with our time. And we both really resonated with this issue of homelessness. And we constantly saw, especially in Colorado, as housing prices were going up, that more and more people were coming out on the streets. And we felt that was wrong. And we thought, even though we're 8th graders, what can we do to support? So we really started this grassroots initiative to basically pass out basic necessities to individuals out on the streets. And over the years, learned about the number of young people who are experiencing homelessness in the United States, and kind of finally, towards my senior year of high school, pivoted our mission to focus in on education and supporting our next generation of leaders, especially who are struggling with homelessness, and making sure that college, post-secondary education, whatever form it takes, is accessible to those youth.
And you utilize social media in a way that older people could not probably figure out to get the word out. You want to tell us a little bit about that, Mateen?
Yeah, are you on TikTok?
I actually am not on TikTok. And the reason is because I don't want to go down a TikTok rat hole, but my daughters send me TikToks every single day. So I see TikToks every single day, but if I get on it, I'll be sucked in.
Yes. Well,
but I do know a bunch of the
I need to
influencers.
delete TikTok every now and then off my phone. But yeah, social media technology has been huge for Equal. We run 100% remotely, and we're connecting with millions of students across the nation, across the world, through platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever the case may be, and really activating young people through our chapters program and showing them, look, this is a problem that's affecting people your own age. I think a lot of times in the nonprofit sector, people might feel distant, especially from the issue of homelessness. But these are, when you bring to the forefront that these are your classmates, these are the people that you're going to school with, and they're going through this, young people respond so much stronger. And
it's also their cohort of trying to fix the world, right? My generation is fortunately moving out fast, probably not fast enough for you guys, but it's going to take a connected generation to make your point. And the impact of all those social media environments is just extraordinary. So I want to thank you and congratulate you. What state? You're in Colorado still?
No, I'm actually in school in Cambridge. So
now, is that Cambridge, England, or is that like Cambridge meaning Harvard?
Cambridge meaning Harvard.
Right. Well, I'm sure I speak once a year up there at Harvard Business School. I'll come see you and invite you to the class.
That sounds good.
And look forward to hearing more from you, because what you're doing, I know firsthand because of the business we're in, is making an enormous difference, which is food insecurity is the #1 issue facing students today after just the cost of education alone. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. It's an honor. I appreciate your time.
It's my honor to meet you, and welcome to the top 10. So, all right, Domi is from Nigeria and grew up in poverty, but vowed all she could do to change the narrative for women. She's launched Let Girls Lead to provide mentorship for secondary school girls in her Ondo home state, teaching them entrepreneurial, financial, and digital skills to help them become self-sufficient. She's also the founder of Forbidden Topics, a campaign to raise awareness of sexual assault cases that the media tends to ignore, especially amongst young people, and to make 2020, the top 100 women, she made the top 100 women creating a better Africa list. So that is a lot for a young person. And I do know that I do know some young women who came from Nigeria who played basketball at Stanford and now who play professional basketball in the WNBA, the Abumake sisters, if you know them. They are quite remarkable, and they are actually some of the greatest entrepreneurs in the United States. So clearly entrepreneurialism runs in your country. Tell us quickly as you can about what drove you to do this and how you took on so much so young.
My story is in two phases, but I'm going to cut it down. It began in 2015 when I finished high school and I could not proceed to the university for 2 years because we could not afford it. I wanted to study law. Now I'm in my final year of law. But then I got a scholarship and I decided my way of giving back would be to volunteer. So I volunteered with several organizations like the World Merit and Actors. But then the major story began in 2018. One evening in 2018, I was coming back from church on my campus and I was attacked by someone with a cutlass. Now, physically, I am just 5 feet tall, so I am very short. And this person is like 6'2", really tall. So I thought I was being pranked until I realized what was going on. I got robbed. The person took my phone. I had to beg to let me go so that they wouldn't use the cutlass on me. So for like a month or more, I could not pass through that lane. Every time I tried to talk to somebody about it, because we really don't have mental health resources in my school. Oh. They go, oh my God, why were you walking alone at night? You caused it, you hacked.
Right, they blame the victim. That's not fair, and that's not right.
And this is the reality for several young women in Nigeria, in my own country, especially in tertiary institutions. Only for me to also realize that my school's code of conduct does not have appropriate punishment for sexual assaults. So basically, if you were assaulted, you're left to your own, do whatever it is you want to do. So I felt that I want to do something. So I created Forbidden Topics, which is basically a platform to bring young women to speak out against social injustices that affect women's and girls' rights. From period poverty, sexism, rape, especially rape. I have this Speak Out on Forbidden Topics series that have women to speak about issues that they face, and then to not just speak about the issues, to come and innovate on solutions from education to policy, because I am a law student. I understand the importance of law. And within 18 months, we're able to reach like 25 countries, which is mind-blowing, courtesy of the pandemic, and leveraging on social media as a tool to send out information and to ignite people to start thinking something is wrong in our society and we cannot continue to ignore the reality.
So Domi,
right now we have
Domi,
can you still hear me?
I can, but we have to finish up because we have 2 more people to go. And what I want to say is, it is hard for people to understand how laws and traditions were so hurtful to so many people who didn't need to deserve it. It's not the victim's fault. It's never the victim's fault. And it's your generation and you in particular that are leading change, as you said, not just in your country, but in 38 countries around the world, which tells you how pervasive the problem is, but also tells you how one person can make a huge difference. So congratulations on being a top 10 finalist. And thank you as a father of daughters, thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So we're gonna jump to Soma from India, who grew up in a rural village where child marriage was common. But with the help of the U organization and coaching football to young girls, she gained the skills to excel academically in both her classmates and her family. So Soma, tell us about the importance of job skills and team sports to changing the lives of young people.
UA was started in 2009, like near my village, but then like I got to know about it in 2012 when I was going to cut dresses with my uncle, and then I saw like the girls were having fun and they had a football, and I was like, I didn't have the privilege to have a football, like because of gender discrimination, it's mostly the boys who have that. So I was like, I want to be part of that group. Like they were having fun. They were meeting like other girls from like all different villages, from like different caste. And because like casteism is also a very big thing, that you don't interact with other girls from different castes. And I like from the next day, I asked my cousin who was already attending the practices if I could join, and then like I started going to the to the practices. And then later on, I also met like visitors from like different countries, and that was really new to me, that girls can travel, and like there are people from different countries who look different, talk different, and just like about their culture. And I became like very interested in just like being at UA, and I did not like stop going to the practices as like a lot of the other girls did, because of the pressure from their parents and like the community of like learning house chores, which is like more important from their point of view, because at the, like getting married at like age 16 or 17, like you have to learn like most of the house chores and like rice plantation and everything to be accepted by the family. And even like when they are married, like most of the times they are part of like domestic abuse and like all the exploitation of women. So then I never became like very good at football, but at the same time I like went to the practices. I interacted with other teammates from like different villages, and like we did like play a tournament in Spain called Dynasty Cup in 2016. We did not win, but like that was a new experience for all of us. Like it was the first time like we were going to a different country. Like we saw how girls were, they received like good education, and they were like independent. They were not part of the society that we came from. And that's when I realized that I wanted to be an independent individual and bring that change in my community as well. And when I saw the difference of the girls' life in Spain, that's when I realized like my life was going to be much better, and I was going to be independent if I worked hard. But then I saw that like my cousins, like I live in a joint family in my village, like with 18 more people, like with my uncles, aunts, and I understood that my aunts and uncles were against me because I did not do a lot of house chores, because I was busy from like I woke up at 4:30, went to coach soccer, like came.
Seema, I want to hear all of this, but unfortunately we have to go. But what I want to point out though is just your resilience, your leadership, your passion, your compassion to showing how change can be made and how individuals can do it with class and brains and charms. And I just want to thank you for the incredible work. I'm a huge fan of the impact of team sports, how it creates community and communication and resilience and strength and teamwork. And obviously coming from the United States, I'm fortunate that we have the U.S. women's national soccer team. So I'm a big supporter, and I know many of the players on the team, and I know what you're doing is making a massive difference, not only in India, but around the world. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations on being a top 10 finalist. You clearly deserve it.
Thank you.
Congratulations as the founder of Mabasta to tackle teenage bullying or bullying across Italy, and honestly across the world, because bullying, because of social media, has become more pervasive. So tell us what made you start it and how well it's going.
Sì, grazie.
Okay, Mabasta started when I was at school, when I was attending the first year, because I heard the story of a little girl from Pordenone, a town of Italy, who had attempted suicide.
Why did you pick bullying to fix? How painful is it, and why do we need to fix it?
After hearing this story, I and my classmates decided to do something concrete just to fight this event, these stories, because we didn't want them to happen again. What we decided to do was just to create the so-called Modello Mabasta. It is the Mabasta model that consists of 6 steps, 6 little steps, which we tried to spread all over Italy first and in all the classroom. And our aim was just to try to fight the problem of bullying all over the world. The main thing to say is that in the process of Mabasta, in Mabasta actions, they are just the boys, the children who act instead of adult people, because we think that perhaps something done by the students, by children, could have a better result.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for creating such a powerful and influential organization, because bullying is not just in Italy, it's a worldwide problem. And it really is about education and compassion and communication. So congratulations on being a top 10 finalist.
Congratulazioni.
Thank you so much.
Grazie.